What's good, everyone, and welcome back to the channel as we have your instant reaction of the Green Bay Packers defeating the Arizona Cardinals by the final score of 24-21. And before we jump into any of that, be sure you do subscribe to the channel as you do not want to miss out on all the latest NFL news and rumors. But let's just jump straight into it because most of the game was kind of stagnant. Green Bay did control most of the game with the running game, which is what they needed to do because when you're missing Devontae Adams and then you have Alan Lazard out as well, you're missing your core receivers and you're going with basically all your second strings out there. So you need to develop the running game, which is what they did very handily well. Actually, a lot of fantasy owners will be upset because A.J. Dillon did share the workload and he shared a heavy amount of it as well. Aaron Jones did get his carries. He looked really well, but for them to control this game, they needed to take over the run game, and they did it perfectly. Their defense also showed up all night too, and specifically on the last play, which we will jump into that furthermore. But Aaron Rodgers didn't do anything too crazy, and there was not that many crazy plays for both sides of the ball as well. He just managed it. He knew what he needed to do when you're missing both your weapons, and it came through. Honestly, I like the way that they used A.J. Dillon more than they used Aaron Jones because this was his game. This is what it was meant to be. I know in the prior week versus the football team, he did have 2 fumbles, but he recovered from that. I think he got in the end zone once, but both of them combined were over 150 yards rushing, and if you can control that, and I think they almost outheld the ball from the Cardinals like 15 plus minutes. I think they were over 30 minutes, and the Cardinals barely had it over 20. If you can manage the time of possession as well, that's a way the Cardinals lost their unbeaten streak. But let's dive into like the final 3-4 minutes of the game where it looked like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were about to just close it. That was going to be it. They'd go up by 10, by 31-17, I think it would have been. And 31-21 is what it would have been. And it all changed. They got towards the goal line, and then Aaron Jones got into the 1. It was initially called a touchdown, and then they called it back. It could be either or. It's hard to call back a touchdown, but they did. Then the next play is when it changed the whole drive, is when they got the delay of game. But also, too, when you use all your timeouts early, that's the kind of position you're going to be in, and that almost cost him in the end because in that next one, he tried to bootleg out, throw a pass, and it was deflected, 4th down. Arizona takes over from there, and then that's when the game gets really crazy. The first 2 series were really bad because Chase Edmonds tried to run out the end zone, and he barely did. That could have ended as well, just a safety right there. But then he threw a deep, I want to say a 25-yard pass to A.J. Green, and he came clutch right there. But when we move later down, which is what I'm going to bring up as well, they get all the way down to the 5-yard line. Kyler Murray looks like he's hurting. He's hurting bad, and I don't know if it was miscommunication, what they saw, what was going on, but it looked like A.J. Green thought it was a run. Kyler threw it to him, intercepted. We are where we're at with a 24-21 final score, and it's crazy to just think that because when a vet does that, I mean, you can display it in like rookies or like, second-year players. They can make those kind of mistakes, but A.J. Green, who's been in the league going on 8-9 years, and he knows those type of plays well, and for it just to basically slide off his shoulder and then into into Rasul Douglas's hands, that's just something that's uncalled for, definitely for a player his caliber as well. And a lot of people will be like, man, if Andre Hopkins was in that situation, I mean, that could be very well that he would have made that play, and that could have been where his go-to guy would have been for Murray, but it wasn't. And Green, he makes those jump ball type of catches too. I just think he thought it was a run, like a quarterback bootleg, and the ball happened to go to him, unfortunately, and it went to Douglas, and that's what sealed it up as well. At the end, you could tell, like, Rodgers and all of them thought this was easily going to OT. It was a wild finish, and it's wild to see because I think that would have been, like, Murray's, like, campaign to start an MVP run, go 99 yards, outright have the number 1 NFC seed, NFL seed, and now the Green Bay Packers own that division tiebreaker, and now they own the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's how quickly it all changes, just off a last-second play like that. And how do I see it going down? I mean, you got Green Bay. I know they take on KC next week. And I want to say Arizona has the easy opponent as well. So they can both easily run the tables. It's just, I think Arizona's going to have a long haul because they are in a tougher division when you face the likes of a Rams, and then you face Seattle, and then you face the Niners. There's going to be more losses down the line for them. I mean, Green Bay and Vikings, they can have interesting battles as well, but I think they got the easier road. I think they will probably be your number one seed in the NFC, but there's a lot of football left to be played. It'll definitely get interesting down the line. I do think the thing that struggled with the Arizona Cardinals is, which was very disappointing in this game, it's like we all heard their defense was getting better, and it was. Like, they've been locking down teams. Like, the last 6 weeks, they were holding teams to under 20 points or less, and of course, that didn't happen in this one. 24 points still. Could have been real worse. Definitely we were facing Aaron Rodgers, but they just struggled. It's like they had a different game plan that they couldn't stop. It's like they were out there looking to stop the pass when you know that they don't have no key components at wide receiver. I would have came in, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, you're my main key focus to stop, because when I stop you, I got to depend on these wide receivers, and they just let it easy, let them run all over them as well. I think D-Hop missing most of the game was also hurtful for Murray as well, because he did trust like a Rondell Moore and AJ Green, but when you're missing D-Hop, that takes a whole big component out as well. He had a huge reception that if he doesn't make a face mask down it, that's a touchdown easily for them. And Rondell Moore did cost his team really, really early with a muffed punt where it just barely flicked his ring finger, but the Packers recover at the one, and as well, he had a ball just bounce off for an interception too. He had two key turnovers that, who knows, that could change the game as well. But we're at a final score of a 24-21 for the Green Bay Packers. Unbeaten, no more. There's no more in the NFL. Let me know down below who you think will run the table in the NFC or as well in the NFL. And with that, that will cut this instant reaction video. Thank you for checking in. Enjoy the rest of your day.